All right, so let's get started. We are going to start lying down in Supta Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees out to the side, lying flat. All right, so we just need a block today, maybe something for extra padding under your knees if you want. And we'll make our way to Supta Baddha Konasana. So if you want to start sitting, getting those hip joints a little warmed up, go ahead. And then making your way down to the floor. And letting your body come to rest on the floor. Doing your best to not make these Baddha Konasana legs too much of a strain. You can always put blocks under the outer knees to support them if you need to. And then as that body gets a little more settled in, bringing your attention to your breath. Inhaling all the way down into the lower belly, exhale, pouring out the inner thighs, out the knees, out the sitting bones, out the top of the head. Slowing the breath down a little bit. And then as your body gets settled in, looking at the more subtle effects of that long, deep breath, quieting your mind, bringing your focus inside yourself. And then let's reach the arms out to the side. We'll take a couple snow angel arms. Breathing the arms up overhead. Breathing the arms down. And then adjusting this for your space as needed. There's always a through the center line direction to go if you don't quite have the width. And then we will finish with those wing arms and bringing the arms back down alongside. Turn the palms of hands into the floor. Give the upper arms a little roll out. We're going to lift the pelvis up off the floor, staying on the outer edges of your feet, lifting up. So we're probably not going to go high. Finding that balance between trying to keep the outer knees pressed down and the lift of the tailbone, and also reaching the tailbone and sitting bones for the wall opposite. Holding 3, 2, 1, and then lengthening down, landing on the floor. Let's do that 3 more times, but we'll just hold 1 breath. Lifting up, taking a breath and deepening, And lengthening down. And then twice more. And then we land on the floor, really letting go, softening. Inhale and exhale. And we'll slide the legs out to straight. Stretch the arms up overhead again. Maybe a squinge or two or three. And then making our way up to sitting. And sitting in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. And using those arms alongside, a little lift up. Space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. And letting the hands rest on the knees, pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders, along through the top of the head. Inhale and exhale. And then we'll reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Breathing those arms up. And breathing them down. Twice more. And then we'll do a couple cactus arms, breathing the arms back up, pulling the elbows down and wide, really pressing back, and we'll do the cactus squeeze. Squeeze the elbows and then the hands, and pressing open. Twice more of the squeeze, elbows leading. And lift the arms up once more, bringing them down, changing the cross of the legs. Let's come forward and over, breathing into the back of the body. I'm going to do a little squinging here, go ahead. And so I'm being the mirror here as we walk our hands over to the right diagonal, though it doesn't matter, we're doing both sides. And then left hand on the right knee, twisting inside out. And swooping around through the center over to the left. And right hand on the left knee, twisting open. And then back to the center. And coming up, unfurling the spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And then let's come up and downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do. Using that breath, opening up the backs of the legs. And then finishing with that, finding the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Nothing moving but the breath. And then let's lengthen forward to the plank, long and flat against the ceiling, holding and breathing here. And 6, 5, 4, 'Then we're going to bend the knees as if we're going onto all fours, but we don't quite get there yet. Those shins are hovering. Let's see if we can hold another 6. If you can't, you can always set the knees down. And 6. And 5. And then those knees touch down. And a couple cats and cows. All right, and then let's you can bring the knees right together or maybe not, and we're going to clamshell. So that's where we lift the right knee out to the side, but keep the big toe on the floor, maybe touching the left big toe. As we just press it out, stabilizing that left hip, pressing with the right outer knee. Big inhale and exhale, squeezing it down. Doing that 6 more times. Inhale, press out. Exhale, squeeze down. Two more. And then we'll extend that left leg back with the toes tucked under. We're going to go to sort of a kneeling side plank, though it's kneeling Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon. Do not let that right shin swivel. That's the important part. As we turn to the left, onto the right hand, pressing that pelvis toward the side of your mat, long through the top of the head. Trying to be a long, flat line with the right toes still pointing straight back to the back of your mat. And maybe lifting the left leg up, though the lift of the left leg is not what's important. We're thinking of the work of that standing right leg to keep the shin from swiveling. And we'll set the left foot down, coming back to all fours, taking a pull back in child's pose. Coming forward into the Sphinx. Pulling the elbows back, reaching back through the legs, wide across the collarbones. And then coming back up onto all fours. And then we'll do that on the left. So, clamshell with the left. Take a moment finding that strong, flat spine. And then we'll hinge the left leg out. So let's hold a couple breaths, trying to feel this. It might not feel like much of anything at first. Pressing that outer left knee up, stabilizing on the right hip. So the work becomes the not going very far. So is that the other leg there? And squeezing it down, as long as it's the other leg. Okay. And then 6 times. Inhale and exhale. And 2 more. And then we'll extend our right leg back with the toes tucked under. And pivot up onto the left leg. Pressing that tailbone toward the side of your mat. So it's kind of like a side plank, but we're more interested in keeping that left shin from swiveling. So we essentially did that clamshell action, but by twisting our right side up on top instead of moving our left leg. All right, breathing here, long and flat and long. Maybe lifting the right leg. It's not so much about the sideways leg lift of our right leg as the balancing and stabilizing that left hip and not letting the shin swivel. And we will set that right leg down, turning back to all fours, pulling back into child's pose for a couple breaths. Forward into the Sphinx. Pulling back with the elbows, reaching back through the legs, wide collarbone. And feeling ourselves back up to downward facing dog. Ah. And arriving here once again. And then through the vinyasa, any version. All right, let's lift our right leg up, reaching long through the heel, reaching down through the left heel, taking a deep breath here. And through to the lunge. And we'll bring the left knee down, coming up in Jayasana, the kneeling lunge. Inhale up the front, exhale, pouring down. And let's take a circle around with the arms. And then twisting to the right, wide arms, left arm across, and then bringing the right hand around to Namaste. And Namaste in the center, and we will step forward into the concave back, halfway up, folding over. Deep breath. Oh, let's have another one. And coming up to standing. Big front body yawn. Long sides down, center line up. And then let's take our right arm up and over to the left, leaning out into that right outer hip. And a big lift up through the top of the head. Left arm up and over to the right. This time we're going to pull down on that diagonal. So big inhale, pull the left shoulder a little more open. Exhale, bend the knees, scooping the abdominal muscles, pull down on the right diagonal to the center. Relax the head and the neck a moment. And then straightening the legs. Concave back, halfway up. Folding over, stepping back with the left leg. And let's come up in the high lunge, or it could be the warrior one. So maybe it's better just to hold if you're feeling stable enough, trying that circle around with the arms. Whoop. That should have been me who didn't do that. All right, and then we're all back with our arms overhead somewhere. And coming down. Stepping back to the plank through the vinyasa, any version. And downward facing dog. All right, let's lift our left leg up. Reaching long between the heels. And through to the lunge. Bringing that right knee down in Jayasana. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And a circle around with the arms. Twisting to the left, wide arms, right arm across, hands to Namaste. And Namaste in the center. And stepping forward. Into the concave, back halfway up. Folding over. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And arms down, center line. And then left arm up and over to the right side bend. And a big lift up. Right arm over to the left. And a big inhale, pulling that right shoulder open. Exhale, reaching on the left diagonal, scooping the abdominal muscles up, bend the knees for a little ball. And then extending the legs. Concave back. Folding over, stepping back with the right leg. All right, coming up in the high lunge or the warrior one. And circling the arms around or not. And coming down. Stepping back to the plank. And we'll hold that plank long and flat against the ceiling. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then as if we're going to kneel, hovering those knees. And 4, 3, 2, 1. And we will set those knees down. All right. So let's do 4 clamshells with the right leg, and then we're going to lift it up and over in the happy dog, lifting the leg up behind. So right leg. And so right leg clamshells out 4 times. Inhale, pressing out. Exhale, drawing in. And once more. And then we're going to press it out, clamshell, the foot comes up and we go all the way up, lifting the upper chest, lifting that right foot. So maybe this is good, holding here. Next option is to take the left hand to the right ankle. And then we will set that right knee down. Take a pull back in child's pose. Deep breath. Coming up in downward facing dog. And we'll lift our right leg up. And then dog at the high fire hydrant. And let's do between 4 and 6 circles with that right leg up there. Bringing the knee forward, out to the side, all the way up and over. And then somewhere between 3 and 5 more. Well, I lost count, but that seems like more than enough. And then we'll set that right foot down next to the left. Take a pull into child's pose. Sliding out into the Sphinx. Child's pose is figuring pretty heavily in class today. And then let's bend the right leg. And we'll reach back with the right arm for one-legged bow, trying to square the shoulders up to the center. You can come down lower in the upper body as needed. Reaching back through the thighs. That right thigh might or might not lift. And lifting up, but we have an intention to lift. And letting that go. Take a moment in that Sphinx. And then we will come up onto all fours. And we'll do the same thing with the left leg. So now it's going to be that leg for you. Okay. All right, here we go. 4 clamshells with that left. Pressing out, squeezing down. And then we'll lift that left leg up and over. Pressing out, lift the upper chest as you lift the leg. And maybe this is good holding here. It is good holding here. Or taking the right hand to the left ankle. And then we'll set that left leg down. We'll pull into child's pose. Deep breath. Expanding up to downward facing dog. And we'll lift the left leg up. Dog at the high fire hydrant, bending that left. And then 4 to 6 circles, or just keep circling until you can do no more. All right, here we go. Knee forward, side, up, and over. And then we will finish with that. Setting the left leg down next to the right. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And coming forward to the Sphinx. Breathing here, smoothing things out. All right, let's bend our left leg. And then left hand to the ankle and into the half bow. You can always bring the upper body down. You can even be there on the floor with that. As we reach back through both legs, maybe that left thigh lifts a little, and breathing here. And taking that left leg down. And coming down for a moment, forehead on the hands. All right, and then let's bow pose with both legs. So you can always do the Sphinx bent leg version, the interlocked fingers version, and or getting hold of the ankles. And we'll lengthen to lift, trying to find your edge, working hard, but not too hard, and breathe. And coming down. And let's peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. If you want to go through a vinyasa, doing that. All right. Let's lift our right leg up. And through to the lunge, warrior number 2, the lateral lunge. I'm feeling that pressing out of the outer right knee that we've been doing so much of. Tailbone pressing to the side of the mat, making yourself long and flat. And dancing warrior, don't lose the lunge. And then Parsvakonasana. One more breath, and then we're going up to Ardha Chandrasana, or you could use the triangle. Shifting the weight, maybe looking at the floor to stabilize your balance. And then if you can, turning the head to the left. So you'll want to move your right hand to the corner of the mat, and then try to take the left arm off. Or not. All right, so this is like when we were on our knee. Pivoting to the side, pressing up with that outer left. And then maybe doing the Chapasana variation, bending the left leg and getting hold of the ankle. We're thinking about it. There we go. Good. And if you've got that left ankle, letting that go. And then we're going to take the easy way down. Just step that left foot down next to the right with a nice bend in the knees, letting the head hang. Inhale and exhale. A standing child's pose. And then we'll straighten the legs. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And arms around, let's come to Namaste in front. Inhaling and exhaling, Samastiti steadiness. And let's make our way back to downward facing dog. Big swoop up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. Jumping or stepping back, vinyasa, downward facing dog. All right, and then around we go on the left, lifting our left leg up. And through to the lunge, coming up in the warrior number 2. Pressing that left outer knee away, pressing the tailbone a little forward, flattening yourself out. And just smooth the breath out. And then dancing warrior, left arm up and over, don't lose the lunge. And into the side angle, big reach out. Any version, I did say that on the other side, but I think, no, good. And then up to Ardha Chandrasana and or the triangle. Maybe you can turn the head to the right, lift that right side up a little more like that pivoting we were doing down on our knees. Maybe the Chapasana variation, bending the left leg. You could do it with just the bend of the left leg. Maybe that bend of the right leg, right leg. Maybe the right hand can get hold of the right ankle. It's like a half bow pose up there. If you got hold of that ankle, extending out for another breath. And then stepping down and forward. Inhale and exhale. Nice, easeful hail. And extending the legs. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. Let's take a whole circle around with the arms and back up overhead. And namaste in front. And let's make our way back over. Big lift up. And diving over. Concave back, folding over. Vinyasa, downward facing dog. Or maybe 2 or 3 vinyasas. And there we are, downward facing dog. Let's see, we're going to end up at the pigeon eventually. So if you want to block or something for your front leg, getting it up there at the front of the mat. All right. Here we are, downward facing dog. Let's lift our right leg up. Through to the lunge. And we'll come up in the warrior number 1. Or any other sort of lunge you want. We don't want things to be too difficult right now. Something that you can at least have some feeling of ease about. And coming down, walk the right foot a little over to the left. Matsyendrasana, pulling the left knee forward and under. So we're in Matsyendrasana with the right leg on top. And we will twist to the right. Inhale and exhale. And back to the center. So we're going to go to the pigeon, but we're going to be at the pigeon on the right. So I'm going to uncross, put the right knee down, and take my left leg back behind. Sometimes we swing that right leg around and go to pigeon on the left. Let's go to pigeon on the right. Maybe sitting on the block. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. So you can come to the sleeping pigeon at any point that you are ready. Meanwhile, maybe trying to bend the left leg since we've been doing a lot of that. So we've pretty much gone outside the boundaries of what is perhaps gentle yoga already today. So just doing what works for you at this point. Maybe you're going to reach back for that left ankle with the left hand, or maybe the crook of the elbow into the mermaid. And then coming forward, bring your left foot with you if you like into the sleeping pigeon. Still have that left foot, letting it go. And then come up, and we will make our way around on the other side. So if you're really going for the enhanced gentle, you could put in a through the vinyasa, or else just come up to downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here. And lifting the left leg. Through to the lunge. Coming up in the warrior one or your lunge of choice. And calm down. And that's Andrasana. Left foot moves over a little to make room for the right knee to come under, or however we get there. Now we have our left leg crossed on top, long through the top of the head. And we'll twist to the left. Inhale, lots of space. Exhale and twist. And back to the center. And we're going to take our right leg out, bring the left knee down into the pigeon on the left or on the other side. And doing that cobra action for a few breaths. And coming into the sleeping pigeon whenever you're ready, or continuing onward in the not so gentle yoga as we reach back through that right foot and bend the right knee. So you can just hold here, which is actually kind of interesting. And or taking that right arm back. And holding the ankle with the hand, or maybe you can get it at the elbow. So remember, I have really long arms, so my elbow is kind of further away from me than yours might be. And here we are in something like the mermaid, perhaps. And then we'll all come forward to the sleeping pigeon, maybe taking your right foot with you. If you still have your right foot, letting that go. And up, retrieving that right leg, and we'll go into Shavasana with, as so often, not so much time on the clock. So you can always stay longer if you want to. Sliding those legs out. We'll pull down with the shoulder blades, palms to the ceiling, centering the head and the neck. Inhale and exhale, letting go, sinking into the floor. And then gently breathing back into your body, a little moving fingers and toes, taking your time, bending the knees, stretching the arms up overhead. And then making your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne.
What is it? Okay, thank you. Let's see. There we go.